What's up, Mets fans? Welcome back to Talking Mets and Rob. How is everybody doing? We got some interesting reporting from John Heyman in regards to the Mets and Dylan Cease. According to John Heyman, the Padres are still looking for an extremely steep price to get Dylan Cease. A couple of top 10 prospects is what they seem to be looking for. And when it comes to the Mets, we heard some players that could be what the Padres are looking for, and we'll get to that later in the video. But the issue with the Padres and their ownership, they're clearly trying to shed payroll. And that is the issue that I'm trying to figure out because of the fact that they're trying to shed payroll, but they're also trying to get over on a team as well. And the John Heyman report that the price is still steep. When did he hear about this rumor? Did he hear about it a few days ago? Was this negotiation about the high price a few weeks ago? And now the negotiation is kind of getting their price a little bit lower? That's what we're going to have to determine here in this video. But according to John Heyman, the high price for Dylan Cease is still there. And that's probably why Dylan Cease is still a San Diego Padre. We know the New York Mets need another starting pitcher. They're not talking to the Padres to land Dylan Cease because they're very confident in their rotation. That's a fact. So what is it? What will it take to get Dylan Cease here? We know he has a salary of $13.75 million. He's a free agent after this year, so he is a rental. So the Cubs, the Mets, and other teams that might be involved in the Dylan Cease sweepstakes are not going to give an arm and a leg when they only have him as a rental. Yes, you got him for a full year, but he's only a rental. With the San Diego Padres and their ownership group being in power right now and wanting to shed payroll, is it possible the Mets could add another piece in that Dylan Cease package where Dylan Cease will come with somebody else to shed even more payroll, the San Diego Padres payroll, and the Mets could get two guys with Dylan Cease in a trade? So we're going to look at that just now, guys. And the offer that we're looking at right now is the high price the Padres are asking for, according to John Heyman. So the deal looks like this. The New York Mets would get Dylan Cease, obviously. It would only be Dylan Cease, nobody else. The Mets would give up Brandon Sproat, the number 1 overall prospect, Jet Williams, the number 2 overall prospect, and Ronald Hernandez, catcher, a number 28th ranked prospect in the Mets farm system. So it would be 3 top 20 prospects. It would be their number 1 and number 2 in Jet Williams and Brandon Sproat. And that is a high price, according to John Heyman, the Padres are still looking for. And obviously, the Mets would take on the $13.75 million on Dylan Cease's contract as a one-year rental. I do not think the New York Mets and David Stearns is going to make this deal. The only way they would make this deal, if there's a guarantee Dylan Cease would extend and have a contract with the New York Mets. Even then, I don't think the Mets would do that because of the fact we know about David Stearns and guys that are reaching 30 years old. He's not going to give long-term deals to these guys. So the potential of trading your 2 top prospects, especially Brandon Sproat, who seems to be untouchable in the Mets organization, they're not going to do this. And that high price that John Heyman says the Padres are still asking for is way too steep, in my opinion, for the New York Mets to get Dylan Cease. I am frustrated by the fact that the Mets should be more aggressive in this approach to get Dylan Cease because, once again, guys, if the organization is looking for a trade to bring in another starting pitcher that is a top-line starter, what does that tell you? That the organization doesn't believe that this rotation is good enough. You're not going after another starting pitcher that's a number 2 or even a number 1 if you believe and you're confident in the rotation that you put together. And in my opinion, the rotation isn't very good on paper. Obviously, they could be good, but again, there's a lot of ifs, there's a lot of question marks, and you need a lot of things to go right to have a successful rotation. That's why the Mets are trying to get Dylan Cease. Now, David Stearns works his magic sometimes, and he figures out a way to get the guys he wants in a trade. And I do think there is a trade up David Stearns' sleeve to land a pitcher like Dylan Cease. And can that happen? With that price, absolutely not. So my trade proposal that I think is fair and also very, very appealing, is very appealing for the New York Mets and the San Diego Padres, is a very fair deal that I put together, and it looks like this. The Mets would obviously get Dylan Cease, the only one coming back to the Mets. The Mets would trade their number 2 overall prospect in Jet Williams, their number 8 prospect in Jonah Tung that's shown a lot of potential last year in the minors, and Marco Vargas, the shortstop, number 16 overall prospect. That is still 3 top 20 prospects. You keep Brandon Sproat, but you also give a very, very high prospect in your system in Jet Williams, Jonah Tong, that I think is going to be a very good pitcher, and Marco Vargas, that has a few years away, but he is an inflated prospect. This is a guy that a lot of people believe is going to run through the system rather quickly, and he's the number 16 ranked prospect in the Mets system. Would the Padres do this deal? I think this is a fair, aggressive deal that David Stearns could give or offer to the San Diego Padres for Dylan Cease. I think this is a solid offer. Now, might go a little crazy here and add one more top 20 prospect, probably between 10 and 20, and make it even more enticing for the San Diego Padres. I would give 4 top 20 prospects to land Dylan Cease, and you still get to keep Brandon Sproat. You probably get to save Tidwell as well. You get Gilbert, Clifford, a couple of other guys. I would actually do that. I would give another 12 prospect or 13 prospect. I would actually give 4 guys. Because if you really look at it, it's not really hurting your farm system. Main guys that you're looking to be a potential asset this season, maybe in the near future, or even in 2026, in Drew Gilbert, in Luis Acuna, in Brandon Sproat, Tidwell, many other guys that can actually help you later this year or even next year, you still got in your farm system. So the Mets aren't going to blow up their farm system just to land Dylan Cease. It is a hefty price, but bringing in Dylan Cease could be the final piece to the puzzle when you got one of the better lineups in baseball, you got one of the better bullpens in baseball, and the one thing you're lacking on this team is rotation help. That's what this New York Mets team needs. Don't try to be fooled by anybody else telling you that the Mets starting pitching is legit, because it's not. The Mets are telling you that by looking at Dylan Cease and probably other pitchers that we don't even know, that hasn't been reported yet. They might be trying to trade for a pitcher we don't even have on the radar yet. That is why the New York Mets need one more piece to this puzzle. What do you think of the 2 trade proposals, guys? The big asking price in Sproat, Williams, Hernandez, or my proposal in Williams, Tong, Marco Vargas? All proposals add 3 top 20 prospects, but in my proposal, I would add one more 10 to 15 type prospect to make it 4 prospects to entice the Padres to give us Dylan Cease. It's a fair, aggressive offer. I wonder if the Padres will do it. Let me know in the comments, guys, what you think. Do you think the New York Mets can make this trade for Dylan Cease, or you don't think it will happen, guys? Let me know in the comments, guys. I want to thank you guys for watching, and as always, Met fans, let's go Mets.
Living legends made on this ground. From silence we scream, make a sound.